And again, good morning. And as I welcome you here this morning, realizing that nothing happens by chance, we are not here by accident, we are here by divine appointment. And our viewing audience, it is the same, that when we click on something and a message comes forth, it's because we are ready to hear it. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And this has happened countless times in my own life where I've needed some information, or I've gone to a bookstore and the book fell out. There it was, exactly what I needed. Nothing happens by chance. Everything is a divine appointment through the energy of our thoughts. So this morning, as we look at our theme has been about creating a new matrix for 2012. And this is an old classic. It's called The Aladdin Factor by Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield. And this is a wonderful, wonderful little book that they wrote years ago, but is so applicable. It's a classic, really. And acknowledging that we all have the genie within us. We light the lamp from within, as we talked about last week. We polish the lamp, and out comes the energy as we acknowledge that that energy, whatever we choose to call it, we can call it the genie, we can call it God, we can call it Yahweh, we can call it Jehovah, we can call it Buddha, but it's all the same energy. And that energy comes forth and says, what? Your wish is my command. The subconscious mind always, that subjective part of us, always says yes. And we program ourselves through the conscious mind. So that is why we stand porter at the gate of our conscious mind, allowing only those things that truly serve at the highest level. We have to discipline ourselves and train ourselves, because many of us have been so programmed to the negative. It's really amazing how that works. I was reading a note by Oriah Mountain Dreamer. She's on Facebook, and she's a wonderful author. And she's written prolifically, like 30 books. And she was saying that she said, I received some money for Christmas. So I went and bought the special facial cream that I'd kind of been, saving for when I was in a position to do that, because my finances have changed. Now, many people's finances have changed, so we simplify, we get more creative, we open the space, we are guided and directed. So she went and bought the facial cream, and she said, I'm going to treat myself to a movie. And she went in and she went and saw a wonderful movie, and she went out, and she said she realized when she got home, it was walking distance, that she forgot her facial cream. And she said all the way back, she was just beating herself up, how stupid, you just left it, and all the things that we do, our negative self-talk. And it's interesting, we've been instructed to love our neighbor as ourselves, which presupposes that we love ourselves. And she said, of course, I got back to the theater and it wasn't there. Anything I leave in the theater, incidentally, is always there, isn't it? We go back for it. And I always visualize it also. I visualize it. But she said she so beat herself up over it. And that how often, the Desiderata states, beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. That to have compassion for ourselves. We're at times forgetful. At times stuff happens. That we can be patient with ourselves. And she said it was such a lesson. She said, this is what I teach. But of course we teach best what we need to know the most. And so it's a reaffirmation for us to get back to source, to get back to that spiritual awareness. So in knowing what to wish for, Dr. Holmes said in the Science of Mind textbook, that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not something for nothing. This is building a consciousness. And as we build the consciousness, that we direct our energy. And trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. And that's why we teach the classes, and we have Wednesday Night Live, and we do all of these wonderful things to forward and advance our consciousness and to grow spiritually. And to become enlightened. And spiritual enlightenment is the moment that we see the light, that we can do it differently, that we can be gentle with ourselves. Every time that we take higher ground, that's being spiritually enlightened. Every time we draw the larger circle, that's being spiritually enlightened. I had someone wrote to me and said, Dr. Sharron, do you ever get tired of drawing the larger circle? I said, if I do, I'm not aware of it. Some bless us by coming into our lives, others bless us by leaving our lives. And I left it at that, and I saw him at Wednesday Night Live, because that just lightened me up enough so I could laugh it off and really release the energy. And I said, well, we draw the energies into our lives that we need to grow and unfold, and possibly reevaluate our lives for what is working and what's not working. And what we find as we come into this way of life and we start vibrating at a higher frequency, we don't always keep the same relationships, because we're not growing and unfolding at that same vibratory frequency or a higher octave. It doesn't mean that we don't love people. It doesn't mean that we don't want them there. It just no longer serves at that level. It's not good or it's not bad. It's just the way that it is. So when we recognize that, and we begin to unfold and acknowledge that our life is moving upward, that we are on the upward spiral, and that life goes not backward nor tarries with yesterday. Life is the forward expansion of the soul. And when we realize that, and we have these moments in our lives, as Oriah, Mountain Dreamer, did, and start beating herself up, to be consciously aware of our self-talk, how we speak to ourselves, and to love ourselves enough to be patient beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. So knowing what to wish for, as Ernest Holmes said, if this hurts no one, if it's good and kind and for the higher purpose, then go for it. Do it. We teach a law of liberty, not license. And when we understand that, and we begin to open the space and visualize what it is that we want in our experience, because we certainly have visualized the negative. What is worry? It's the morbid visualizing capacity of our mind. It has no place in our consciousness. So as we begin to feel the enlightenment, as we begin to wake up, in fact, when someone said to Buddha, are you a god? Are you an angel? What are you? And Buddha said, I am awake. When we get it, that we are awake to life, we are awake to each other. We are awake to the inner intuitions within us that are guiding and directing us. We are awake to the little nuances of life, the little nudges, the hunches, the things that come in that we are awake to, that can make all the difference. Because how many of us have said, if I'd only listened to my intuition? A few of us. So now let me tell you, when I hear that voice, be still and know. I stand at the door and knock. If any man, woman hear my voice, let them answer, and I will come into them and sup with them, and they with me. What that means for me is, there is a still small voice, and it's knocking ever so gently. And it's up to us to open our awareness and receive it and be guided by it, in a spirit that this is a gift from God. And when we have a spirit of the gifts and the energy that are there, we open the space in amazing ways, absolutely amazing ways. And one of the things of looking at what to wish for, I wanted to bring up Louise Hay, who I've known for many, many years, over 30 years. And I remember getting this flimsy little book in the mail in like the late 70s. And it was called The Probable Psychological Causes in Mind for Every Dis-ease. And it was like a little flimsy book. And I started looking at it, and even in the Science of Mind textbook, Dr. Ernest Holmes has probable psychological causes in mind for dis-ease. And so I thought, you know, this is really nice that she's doing this. And when I talked to her a few years later, when she moved to San Diego, and she was in our service one Sunday, and I said, you know, that little book has been amazing. But it's revised, and she sold millions of copies now. And she said that she went to her teacher, Raymond Charles Barker, and she said, this is my idea. And he was out of New York, and that's where she was as well. And she said that he thought it was a good idea, and he said, well, how many did you publish? Well, she said, my 93-year-old mother and I, she goes, I charged it on my credit card. We had like the staplers out, we were putting them together, and we were sitting on the bedroom floor, and we were putting these little books together. And I told him 5,000, and he just burst out laughing. Just laughed, you know, thought it was hilarious that she thought that she could possibly sell 5,000 of these. Well, interestingly enough, this has been revised like 10 times, this little book, it's called Heal Your Body, but she goes into the mental equivalence. She goes into the probable psychological causes in mind. And what's so great about the little book is that she has an affirmation. For every physical dis-ease, there is a positive affirmation to open the space to allow God to do what God does best. So when we look, and I can remember when I first moved here, I had, little stuff going on with my hands, and to name it is to claim it. So I never did say the A word. But I did look into the book, and it talked about resentment, and it talked about unresolved issues. And I went within to see what that was about for me. And interestingly enough, I was able to release certain things that I thought I had already released. I was able to return them to their native nothingness from whence they came. And she said that after she had been in this way of life for many, many years, she had a cancer diagnosis. And just like anyone that has that diagnosis, we freak out at first. We go to the worst possible scenario. And she said, I got a hold of myself. I went to my teacher, and my teacher said, Louise, you have been in this way of life for too long. You've done too much work to die of cancer. So this is what you're going to do. And so she said, I had my affirmations, and I went within, and I realized that, my negative childhood was, being raped and all these things in my life that I had to release, and release them once and for all and let them go. And she said, when I did that, and I went to a doctor, and I said, give me 3 months. I don't want to do traditional medicine. Not that we have anything against traditional medicine, because I know a lot of people that go through traditional medicine, they come out on the other side. They are healed, whole, and complete. But that was not her choice. So she went to a nutritionist, she went to her chiropractor, she did all these things. And in 3 months' time, went back, and there was no cancer in her body. She said that she still has the lab report, and that they gave her a lot of negativity about it because, to wait 3 months when you've had this diagnosis. And in my own personal life, when Neil Stroud was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and we were in Science of Mind 1, we went to our minister, and he sat there and he did a spiritual mind treatment. A spiritual mind treatment is a positive prayer of alignment, acknowledging that that which needs to be healed is healed, that which needs to be revealed is revealed, that which needs to be known is known, and that which needs to be released is released, quickly, gently, and with grace. Our little girl was 3 days old when he got that diagnosis. He went on for 7 years. So that was 7 years that he came to fulfill what he came here to do, and then left. And on January 6th, we always celebrate because it was his earthly birthday. Kay Schreiber, who's one of our in-house mystics, and a wonderful energy, did a channeling from Neil to my daughter, and why he came, and for that amount of time, and that he is always with her. And my daughter said, I really feel this, and I know this. So we know that death is not extinguishing the light, it's turning off the lamp, because dawn has come. The veil is very thin. But as long as we are here, let's be here with quality and excellence and aliveness. Let's put the works with the faith and do what we came here to do. And and you beautifully sang, as you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are, because the universe is no respecter of persons. That we are all inclusive. That our God is a God of oneness. So we just put in our divine request. We open the space. We visualize. We feel it, we acknowledge it, we know that it's there, and it manifests. In this book, The Aladdin Factor, there was an example of a couple that had met each other through visualization, and then they wanted the perfect house in Huntington Beach, and they had all kinds of realtors. I thought, had they wanted something in Palm Springs, we would have more than served them. But this was in Huntington Beach, and they went from place to place. They had a visualization. They had the 2,000 square feet or more. They had, the vaulted ceilings. I mean, they had it down to, the tile in the kitchen. And everything they looked at just wasn't quite it. So her husband said, we met each other through visualization. Let's put an ad in the paper. Let's put it out there exactly what we want and let them come to us. So they put an ad in the paper. It was answered. The very first place they went to, this was it. This was it. And the price was over their budget and what they had allotted. So they went home and they meditated, and they went within, saying, if there is a divine way for us to experience this house that we love, let it be. All cause, effect, record, and memory of anything that no longer serves us is dissolved. And they got a call that evening. The seller said, you love the house so much. You were so enthused and you were excited, and that excited me to have somebody love my house. I'll give it to you for this amount. And it was below market value. So they got into their dream house through just, and it sounds very magical and mystical, but it really is cause and effect. They put it out there. Their energy, their enthusiasm, their excitement shifted something. And it was passed on to them for something that they could afford. So I know that in terms of the universe, that the universe is always there for us. And that the getting what we wish for is putting it into the law of mind. It's not magic. It looks like magic, but it isn't. It's cause and effect. Put into the law of mind what we want to experience, and when the negative stuff comes up, to return it to its native nothingness from whence it came. Because the truth is, it is neither person, place, nor thing. Only the life and the energy that we've given unto it. And let me tell you, every time you turn on the news or something goes on, we are programmed. So I do not do that. I go online if I want to know what's going on, and I see things, and I go within, and I know we have a lot of work to do on the planet. And that our negative self-talk has got to go. Because we are created in the image and likeness of God, and we are told that it is good and very good. Just like my favorite little story of the 5-year-old girl drawing a picture, and the Sunday school teacher saying, oh, what are you drawing a picture of? She said, I'm drawing a picture of God. She said, oh, nobody knows what God looks like. She said, they will when I finish. Think about it. We are created in the image and likeness of something so beautiful that it is within us. And when we embrace each other, we can feel it. We can feel that energy. We can feel that oneness. So when we look out into the universe of what we want to experience, and to realize that we are worthy, that we are deserving, and we are accepting, and that it is our birthright. We are here to experience the good life. And that when we go through our challenges and upheavals and the chaos that comes, all of that falls away. So that the truth of us, that peace that passes all understanding, arises. And that we begin to learn and grow in amazing ways. We want to feel good. We bless this body temple. We want to have abundance and prosperity. In those moments when we live the face cream at the movie theater and we sabotage ourselves, to forgive ourselves. To realize we're all subject to the human condition, every single one of us. We're subject to the human condition. And that when we have a belief in something, and that something is to pass on healing to humanity, that regardless if your teacher laughs in your face, the universe has accepted it. And she has now gone on, as you know, she is the top self-help publisher in the world. Hay House. So Louise, I thank you, and I love you for all that you've done for all of us. And I say to each one of you, I love you, I know who you are, and I am so grateful for you. God bless you, namaste, and we are going higher yet, aren't we? Yes, we are. Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, and God bless you.